Well, the question, has tipping gone too far? The screens are seemingly everywhere now. Coffee shops, sports stadiums, even self-service kiosks asking customers if they want to offer a tip. So why it's leading to some confusing moments at the checkout counter. Take a look.
This screen is stressful for many.
Does the flip of the screen feel like a lot of pressure?
It does, and they give you options like 10, 15, 20, even with like Uber, Dash, and like Grubhub, all of it. Like everything's tip, tip, tip.
Do you think that tipping has gotten out of control?
Yes.
Tips are part of American culture, meant to be a thank you for good service. But today, more and more Americans are confronted with the question, would you like to add a tip?
It is tricky everywhere, right? Like if you're at a coffee shop, if you're at the hairstylist, if you're coming out of a taxi, like I don't know the rules then, and I often don't know what to tip.
A recent study found that in a high number of cases, participants who were presented with a tip screen had more negative emotions to the payment experience than those that didn't. And it wasn't even a real-world scenario.
Let's say you go to a coffee shop and all they do is just twist around the laptop. Is like, why am I tipping?
But the small group we spoke to said more often than not, they do end up tipping.
I put $1 or $2. I don't mind it. As long as like, it's not a lot, I'll just put it because I don't mind. This is, at the end of the day, I'm helping out, other people.
This is Provisions on State, a butcher shop. There's no table service, no cooking or serving. Yet, they'll ask you if you'd like to tip.
A flip screen in a butcher shop?
Yes.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yes.
How'd you decide to do that?
These men and women have a knowledge base that they're sharing and taking care to share with the guests that come through the door. And they're not pressured to tip, but they want to because they're paying for a service provided.
Does anyone have any knife work I can grab?
Emily Mingrone owns the butcher shop and 2 restaurants in New Haven, Connecticut. At the restaurants, her front-of-house staff make the state's tipped minimum wage, $6.38 an hour. Tips bring them to $40 an hour on average. But the back-of-house staff make half that and aren't eligible for tips.
This movement to get rid of the tipped minimum wage, are you for it, against it?
I'm against it, and I think, frankly, it's kind of clueless.
8 states have abolished the tipped minimum wage, which in some is as low as $2.13 an hour. The National Restaurant Association is fighting against it, calling it a top issue.
That's money that's going to come out of my pocket, take away from the people that aren't getting tipped. I would need to raise my prices, which then causes pushback from the guests.
But the Group 1 Fair Wage is moving legislation and ballot measures to end the tipped minimum wage in 25 other states, including Illinois.
That's how I live, is with tips.
Destiny Fox works in 2 Chicago restaurants. She's saving up for school. She makes just above the state's tipped minimum wage, taking home $9.40 an hour. Tips add 80% to her take-home pay. Without it,
it wouldn't give me the means to live, to pay my bills, to eat, and to do the things that I'm planning on doing, school, and I mean, it's everything.